Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Sports Exchange. My name is Scott Morgan, off the Motor City Madmouth. JB Ellis is out tonight, but we're pleased to have Jennifer Matthews Lewis in here. Jennifer, obviously, we appreciate you coming on. Trying to put you and Candy on together because you can never have too much of a good thing. The interesting dynamic is we got the two of the chicks in salsa, and you got the two of the originators of the Sports Exchange. So what an interesting pairing here, and my longtime tag team partner, George Eichorn. Welcome back for round two tonight, Eichorn.
It's good to be back. Boy, the men against the girls here. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, that's definitely a unbelievable pairing. That's why I look at Candy flexing those muscles of her Candy up like. I'll tell you, don't put nothing past her. I've seen her lift chairs over her head, and she does it pretty convincingly. I'm telling you, don't mess with this girl. She's a hunk of woman, that's for sure. When it comes to lifting chairs up. All right. With that said,
Well, don't make her mad, Scott.
I'm not. Hey, I'm too weak these days to make anybody mad. Well, football's the theme tonight. We're going to talk about the Raiders. We're going to talk about the Browns, talk about the Detroit Lions, and the game that you're looking forward to. With that said, let's get it rolling here. We got the Las Vegas Raiders trading wide receiver Devontae Adams to the New York Jets for a third round pick that will become a second round pick based on performance bonuses to reunite with Aaron Rodgers. Adams is expected to play, by the way, versus the Steelers. Of course, he wasn't healthy enough to play the last couple of weeks. I don't know why, but man, I'll tell you, he became a Superman with a cape there. Devontae Adams receiving TDs since 2015. 93 is the most of any player. Okay. And obviously, the New York Jets have some issues of their own as they've had the 77 and the fewest of any team and 50% more than the entire Jets franchise. So there's a lot of numbers there. So we'll start off with Jennifer. What are your thoughts about Mr. Adams going to the Big Apple?
I mean, as soon as he announced he wanted a trade, it was obvious he wanted to go back to be with Aaron. Obviously, the whole college roommate thing with Derek didn't work out so well. And obviously, they don't play together anymore anyway. But the Jets, I feel like this is kind of their make it or break it. But I feel like they have the same issue at the end of the day that another team down south might have, and that would be an owner. Um, but honestly, Robert Sala didn't do what he needed to do in the offseason. Nobody ever wants to stand up to Aaron Rodgers, but they'll kowtow to him and give him Devontae. However, have they met Devontae Adams? Because it will become a second. Or does it have to be both? Or just one or the other? He has
No.
to be all pro or Super Bowl or just all pro?
Oh, it just depends on performance bonuses,
Okay.
incentives. It's pretty much a gray area that we don't know about. But if
Yeah.
he hits particular bonus areas, then what's going to happen is they'll get a second round pick. I mean, let's face it, the Raiders are in the midst of a fire sale, anyways. They're trading people away, and we'll see what Antonio Pierce has when it's all said and done. Now, it's based on pretty much in, performance bonuses. So Aaron gets what he wants, gets to go back there. The only thing they need in New York now is a kicker. Although Greg Zerline, all he had to do was kick one field goal and he missed two the other night. That's for another day for another time. But the other team I thought they could have traded him to was New Orleans. But the problem is Derek Carr's hurt for a while, and Jets made too much sense. All right, George, I'll flip it over to you.
Yeah. I mean, he's had a heck of a run the last couple of weeks. And that's not good. I mean, he's had hamstring injury, Devontae Adams, and then he's only played in 3 games so far this year. One game he only gained 40 yards passing. Another game was 59, and then the Baltimore game had a really good game. Adams with 110 yards, 9 receptions. Yeah, this was something that obviously, Aaron Rodgers and the Jets wanted to make happen. And can it save their seasons? We don't know. I mean, the Raiders are off to a really bad start, of course, and so are the Jets. All I see on this thing is that you talk about a lifeline. This has got to be the ultimate lifeline for Rodgers to salvage something out of this trade to New York. Obviously, the injury last year and the very bad start to this year does not bode well for Jets fans. But we'll see what happens. I mean, stranger things have happened, but They got their will, the Jets did, and even though he's been questionable the last couple of weeks, they say that Adams is going to be ready to go for his debut with the Jets.
And before I turn over to Candy, I have like some additional stats worth mentioning is that between Rodgers and Devontae Adams, they've had 69 touchdowns, 622 receptions, 7,590 receiving yards. So there's certainly obviously good chemistry between two, and they haven't been relevant without each other. So now they have a chance to become relevant with each other. All right, Candy, you can finish the topic. I mean, the only thing I'll say about it is, let's face it, Devontae Adams wasn't going to go play for the Raiders anymore. And now it's up to you, Candy. Take us home with that.
Let's face it. What quarterback did Devontae have the best success with? Aaron Rodgers. So where else is he going to go? I mean, and Derek is obviously has an oblique injury. So you don't know how well he's going to be the rest of the year. So where else was Devontae going to go? But, and everybody is saying that this is going to be the salvation that Aaron Rodgers needs. Now, wait a minute. Let's step it back. On offense for the Jets, they are, for total yards, they're tied for 22nd in the league. For passing yards, they're 16th. So they're already middle of the pack. Rushing yards, 30th. Oh, is Devontae Adams going to help him with that? No, because you're just talking about more passing and more passing. You need to shore up your offensive line and get running backs in there that are going to make it. If you don't have an offensive line that's going to block for Aaron, I don't care who he's passing to. He's not going to get the passes off because the offensive line is not blocking enough for him. Yes, he's had success with Devontae. Yes, they're going to be reunited. Oh, yay. Good for them.
That's sarcastic. I don't know what is.
But that is not necessarily the only problem with the Jets. They're tied for 22nd in total points. If you do not, and I'll be the first to admit, if you do not have a complementary running game to go with your passing game, I don't care who you have back there as quarterback. If everybody knows all you're doing is passing, defenses are going to win every time. So until you get more balanced, and Aaron, as much as I like you as a quarterback, stop being GM. Although maybe the Jets need a better GM, so maybe Aaron Rodgers is the better GM.
Well, then you're referring to Joe Douglas, right? Obviously, who's got himself a difficult situation with Hassan Reddick, and I'll get to that in a little while in the show. Believe me, Joe Douglas is the one who concocted that situation. He may be biting a bullet over that, but I'll get to that later in the show.
Let's face it, Aaron's the whole reason why Nathaniel Hackett is at the Jets too, and look at how that's worked out. He was doing the play calling, and now he's relieved of those play calling duties because he wasn't doing a good enough job.
And that led to someone's firing over there.
Yeah.
Well,
my man, Robert. Dearborn, Michigan.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. Let me talk about that real quickly because Bill Belichick went on record and called out the Jets for making that move. Number one, he said, Robert Saleh did a really, really good job over there. He didn't get a chance. And let me tell you, when it comes to a defensive coordinator job next year, don't tell me he's not going to be highly coveted. He'll be one of the most highly coveted names. So maybe Robert Saleh is glad to get out of there to begin with. And keep in mind that with a subpar offensive line, that Zach Wilson was 3-3 with it, and Aaron Rodgers is 2-4 with it. So for all you Zach Wilson haters, let me tell you, when you have a subpar offensive line, you're in trouble. That's all there is to it. I don't care who's under center. It is what it is. Some people may not think Zach Wilson's great. Okay, you're entitled to your opinion. But then again, how many quarterbacks in recent years in New York have been great? Sam Darnold didn't make it there. And, hey, look, guess what? He's playing for the Vikings. He gets in front of Kevin O'Connell. How is that working out? Okay, rejuvenated in Minneapolis. Okay, so, I mean, so any quarterback that gets there, and they always say, if you get it wrong at the quarterback position, that sets you back 3 to 5 years, and the Jets have been notorious for getting it wrong there. No matter whether you want to bring in a legend who's past his prime or not, whatever the case may be, that's bad. So, yeah, I agree. Aaron Rodgers is GM. How are the Green Bay Packers without him? Well, I'd say Jordan Love is doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. So, not every place that you leave, Aaron, is in that bad a shape. All people are looking at you at New York is, the Big Apple, Broadway, Aaron. Yeah, it's broader, right?
Aaron, yeah, for
Yeah,
Broadway
right.
Joe.
Yeah, right. Well, I was trying to be sarcastic with that comment. That's why I came out with it. I
Nice,
don't know.
George.
That's a good one.
Yeah, well, sometimes I come out with them every now and then when I'm not overrilling and taxing my voice. I mean, it is Broadway Aaron right now. And by the way, for whatever it's worth, he didn't attend that much of the off-season program, so all of that really helps. That Robert Saleh is trying to kiss your backside, and this is what you do to pay him back. Well, guess what? Robert Saleh is having time with his family and he's getting paid anyway. So it is what it is. All right, we're going to have Candy take us to a station break, and then we'll continue on.
You listening to the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel. If you see the red subscribe button, hit it, like it, share us with all your friends and family. Monday nights we talk baseball. Tuesday nights we talk football. Wednesday and Thursday nights you just never know what we're going to be talking about. Typically sports, but you never know. And then Thursday nights we also have Fire Up Florida, which is talking hockey these days. But the South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by none other than your host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth. And the foreword was written by none other than the other male panelist on this panel tonight, George Eichhorn.
What were you going to call me? No, just kidding. Go ahead.
Don't get me started. I have a lot of things I can call you.
Ooh.
It talks about Scott's 40 plus years in the media industry and how the industry has changed over those years. It is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Apple, and Google Books. Get your copy today. And, Christmas is coming up. So it's the season of giving. You have all kinds of people you want to give this gift to. It's the gift that keeps on giving. If you know anybody that wants to get into the business, go out and buy it for them. They'll love it. It's a great read. There's also a link available on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where George and Scott also write. Jen, I think you've written for us once or twice, I think.
Yeah, once or twice. I need to start doing it more. I like your idea on our call earlier, though, Candy. I'm not going to lie.
And then I take pictures, too. So you can check out our website. If you want to sponsor a show or advertise, call Scott, 954-304-4941. Twitter is at Tribune South. Check out our website again, www.southfloridatribune.com. Back to you, Scott.
Well done, Candy. And once again, great to have you back here, Jen. All right, so we'll talk about another interesting trade here. The Cleveland Browns trade Amari Cooper to the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo will send the 3rd and 7th round picks to Cleveland in exchange for the 5-time Pro Bowler and a 6th round selection. Back to Jennifer. What are your thoughts about Amari Cooper being the number 1 guy in Buffalo for Josh Allen?
Bills won this trade hands down. Hands down. Like, did Cleveland even try? Like, did they even try? I mean, good for Amari, because I feel like that obviously the Bills are out with Josh. Since Jim Kelly, with the advent of Josh Allen, they've been the closest than they've been in decades. So I think this might be what's needed. I think the Bills need to remove one person from their defense and add someone else, but I don't know who. So, but yeah, I think the Bills are actually trying to go deep in the playoffs now.
Well, they definitely got a number 1 receiver now, that's for sure.
Yes, they do.
Who did they let go during the offseason? I'm trying to remember. Stephon Diggs went down to the Texans, right? And they realized they needed a good number 1. And I'll tell you what, Cleveland was a good place to get it. And yes, Robert Wardell, good pickup for the Bills. Good chance to get over the KC hump now. That's a really good point. All right, George.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good deal for the Bills. I agree. I mean, Cleveland, again, is just, I don't know what's wrong with them. They're just not playing well this year at all. Buffalo, obviously, with Kelly. I mean, they got to make sure that they get this right this time. I mean, what are they now? 4-2, Buffalo is on the season. But No, I mean, this is going to really, really help them out. I really think that it was a good trade for the Bills. I'm not so sure what Cleveland is trying to do anymore. I just, between their quarterback woes and everything else they've had there, coaching merry-go-round for many, many years, but that is such a mess over there in Cleveland. But yeah, I think it's a good move for Buffalo. I really do. I mean, he's a good player, and that'll certainly spark their offense better in Buffalo.
Yeah, Robert Wardell makes an excellent point. Stuck with Deshaun Watson. That's what Cleveland's problem is, and that's a big problem.
Yeah.
It is. I could do a full topic on that, but I'll just write off of Robert. Then he falls into the GMTA category. Great minds think alike, Robert. All right, Candy.
So the Buffalo Bills are going to pay Amari Cooper a whopping $806,000 this year. So they are getting him for a steal. A steal. He caught 72 passes and 5 touchdowns while setting a career high with 1,250 yards last year. So that's what the Bills are getting. To make room for him, they actually released veteran receiver Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Oh, Rogers, you might want to go pick him up because, yeah, you played with him before too.
That was good.
He caught 2 passes this year for a total of 26 yards. So, hey, he's gonna help that run game in the Jets. You just see it now. But by far, Bills are in a win now, and they realize that they have to compete with the Kansas Cities in the world. So go all in, go all in now while you still have a quarterback that is performing really well. He's young. He needs some good threats, and some good receivers.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
As far as playing with Josh Allen, I've always been a fan of his game, Cooper said of his new quarterback. I'm sure to see it up close and personal, I'll play alongside him. I'm sure it's going to be great. So, Cooper was a key member of the Browns team that reached the playoffs last season after Joe Flacco took over. So, however, with Deshaun Watson under center, Cleveland is 1-5. They're ranked 30th in total points this year. Why would you want to stay with them?
Yeah,
kudos.
Here's the big kicker. They had Joe Flacco let him into the playoffs and even offer him a contract. Go figure. That's bad. So yeah, I think there's no question Buffalo made out like bandits. I'm just going to put a couple stats. Nobody has to comment on them, okay? But since it is obviously week 6 or 7, I think, of the NFL, we're going to throw a couple out there anyways. The Philadelphia Eagles have scored 0 points in the first quarter of this season. 0 points in the first quarter of this season in 5 games. They haven't done this since the franchise started in their first 2 seasons in 1933 and 1934. Just stats, people. That's all it is. The Chicago Bears have scored 35-plus points in consecutive games for the first time since 2013. Is that going to make Caleb Williams look like a not bust? No, let me see the whole season. Just want to put those numbers out there for those of you that want to get a complete picture of week 7. All right, we'll go on to our last topic of the night. Then we're also going to have the games that you're looking forward to. So with that said, the Detroit Lions 47-9 win over the Dallas Cowboys in front of 93,644 in Arlington. David Montgomery's 8th straight game with a rushing touchdown, a Lions record. Even Barry Sanders didn't do that. And unfortunately, though, for the Detroit Lions, Aiden Hutchinson will miss 4 to 8 months with a broken leg. So obviously for Dallas, it was a good time for a bye weekend. Boy, Jerry Jones' 82nd birthday. I'm sure he'll remember it for all the wrong reasons. Possible replacements.
Are you sure? Sorry.
I don't know if I'm sure about anything, but that doesn't matter.
I meant that he'll remember it.
Yeah, that's all right. That's okay, Jen. It is what it is. So possible replacements for the Lions do not include Max Crosby because Mark Davis said he's not going to trade him for nothing at all under no uncertain terms. And by the way, for Max Crosby played his ball over at Eastern Michigan, but names like Hassan Reddick, Zadarius Smith, Jadeveon Clowney, and Trayvon Walker have been talked around. And I'll say one thing about Trayvon Walker. He was drafted ahead of Aiden Hutchinson. And now wouldn't it be amazing if the Lions could go ahead and get Trayvon Walker and Hutchinson as both defensive tackles? I always like to mention that. That's why I started this topic off first. So with that said, Candy, we're gonna let you go next here. Okay, hey Jennifer, I have to ask you a question. Does she come up with some unbelievable timely stats on your shows too, like this?
Candy? Yes.
Yeah.
When I'm not interrupting her.
Oh, okay. That's all right.
Oh, girls will be girls. No.
Oh, George. Hey, George. You always are
George.
consistent on one thing. Are you crazy? Really? Seriously? How could you go ahead and do something like that to these two? These two here are part of an unbelievable show. Really?
They're
Seriously?
stats.
I can always count on George to say something stupid. And of course, in Spanish, they call it El Stupido because I once dated a Puerto Rican. That was the only word I ever knew was El Stupido because I used to get called it a lot, but that's beside the point. That's the day. And I'm not
It's so
losing
being
it.
it.
I'm just saying the way it is here. I've been doing it for that's how long. It doesn't matter. All right. So, all right, Candy, some thoughts about the Leons, your other favorite team.
So Jared Goff threw for 315 yards, 3 touchdowns after his completion streak ended on his first throw. But the Detroit Lions went into Cowboys Stadium, and for the 4th consecutive loss at home for the Cowboys, it was a lopsided win for the Lions. Prescott threw 2 interceptions in the worst home loss since 1988 for the Cowboys. Why does Mike McCarthy still have a job? Honestly.
That's Megan's question weekly.
I know. But the Lions are playing very well. Dan Campbell is proving that he was one of the best hires that Detroit or most anybody in the league. I mean, he's a really good coach and he's getting the most out of his guys and the guys are playing for him. And that's something you don't always see because a lot of times the guys are playing just for them and their individual stats for their next contract, as opposed to I want to play in Detroit because I love the culture that Dan Campbell has started. You hear that all the time that the guys really like to play for him. In business, you always hear you don't leave a job. You don't quit on a job. You quit because of your manager. 90% of it is your manager. So I would think the same thing in the NFL, although the NFL is a business. I get that. But I think you perform well when you like what you do and you like the culture, you like the people around you, the coaches. Dan Campbell's doing a really good job. The Lions are playing really tough. It was a tough break, no pun intended, for Aiden Hutchinson. But from what I've heard, he heals quickly, and I think you can tell the intensity that he plays with. He's going to have that same intensity to heal and get himself back as quickly as he can, because you know that's just who he is. That's his character. So he'll be back. Will it be this year? It depends. It remains to be seen. It depends on how his rehab goes. But I would say the Lions have everything to look forward to. And if they get and honestly, if they go out and get another, if they get Trayvon Walker or anybody like that, they would be a very tough team to play. Very tough. And what is already a tough division, because as we've heard, everybody in the NFC North has a winning record at this point. But Chicago has not played much of the NFC, I don't believe.
Well, let's not forget the Detroit Lions have a really good offense. That's all I have to say. Ira Turner, the guy that resides in Detroit, George.
Yeah, I mean, it was another stellar effort by the Lions offense. I mean, I thought they might even give Goff a couple more series off, but they did finally, in the end of the game, put in Hooker. And you know what the thing is that, I mean, you look at these offensive statistics and look at the breakout year that Mr. Jameson Williams is on his way towards. He's got more yards gained than even the great Amon-Ra St. Brown does. 365 yards to 289 for St. Brown. And then you got Sam Laporta, of course, who had a huge touchdown against Dallas, and he checks in with 199 yards. And then Tim Patrick, this guy came out of nowhere, and Goff's been throwing to him too as well. He's got 10 receptions. So there's a lot of targets for the Lions. And then, of course, the running game. I mean, call it what you want, two-headed monster, whatever. But, Gibbs and Montgomery are just doing bang-up work as far as the rush goes. Yeah, it's like a juggernaut right now. I mean, I know they stumbled, in the Tampa game earlier this year, but they look really good offensively. Things are clicking. They're still doing the trick plays, surprise plays, and hook and ladder, and and the fact that Goff, even of course in that Monday night game, had a touchdown reception as their quarterback. So yeah, Ben, he's doing a great job, Coach Ben, and the offense, and again, they've made improvements defensively as well under Aaron Glenn. Right now, it's hard not to like Detroit as getting into one of those Super Bowl slots, but I know it's a long season. With Hutchinson being out, and I spoke to Scott on another show earlier, it is good that they've got a good general manager like Brad Holmes and a good head coach, obviously, but they're looking for the opportunity if they can find a replacement or two. They signed this Isaiah Thomas from Miami's practice squad, I believe he was on, but he hasn't played a game for them yet, but he'll probably suit up on Sunday. But yeah, if they could pick up some help there in Hutchinson's place, that would help. I mean, he was the leader on defense. He's still going to be, vocal and coming to practice when he can after this surgery. But those are big shoes to fill. So it remains to be seen whether the Lions can fill those shoes or not.
Yeah, my gut feeling is they'll have a deal done by tomorrow night. They're just trying to check all the boxes, see who's available. And then obviously Brad Holmes will make a move. He's not afraid to make moves. All right, Jennifer, what are your thoughts about this?
I mean, what's going on in Dallas? Like, they're literally showing no culture. Doc just got a huge extension after being, and I hate to say somebody's injury prone, but he's injury prone. He's out at least every other year. And I mean, I'm not trying to be mean, but that's a lot of money. Did y'all see the video of the Cowboys going back into the locker room?
I didn't.
No, I didn't.
Stone silence. And you had all the suits in front of all the players. No one said a word. Everybody's head was down. Jerry's is the only head that wasn't completely down. Do I think Jerry needs to sell? I've always thought that. But Jerry's also the only NFL owner who gets all of the proceeds and profits from his team's paraphernalia. The NFL will never allow that to happen again. And he ain't going to sell. So that's just, but they've got to go. I've said this about my Panthers too. They got to go do some trust exercises because there's no trust there. For CeeDee Lamb to only have, 89 receiving yards? The CeeDee Lamb we're talking about. CeeDee, come over to Carolina if you want to look bad because we're actually trying here. So, I mean, just nothing can be said. The score says it all. I will say this. Tom Brady said that the Lions are the team to beat. So, high praise, Scott. My little lion head over there.
You got it. Well, let me add this point too, though. I know Dan Campbell wanted in the worst way to put a 50 spot and run it up, and that team came into Dallas and mad. And I repeat, mad, because it's the first time they've beaten Dallas since 2013, and a couple of those games where there was some bad luck down in Big D is what there was. So, this team, unfortunately, they lost their best defensive player, but again, the first thing that entered my mind when they lost their best defensive player is I was at the game where Mike Utley was paralyzed, and George and I were at games where Chuck Hughes died on the field, and that was no picnic with the Mike Utley. And now here we are watching Aiden Hutchinson literally break his leg. But then the first thing I'm thinking after all that settled down was, all right, Brad Holmes will earn his money as the general manager. He's made more shrewd moves than the best general manager I've seen in my lifetime. But the Lions, what is Brad's next move and what Campbell going to conjure up? and the Fords would leave these guys alone. So Dan Campbell wanted to run it up and wanted to kick the Cowboy butt, and boy, he did it. And when you consider that's, I believe, the worst home loss in the Jones era, I think at that in Dallas, I don't know, there might be or something to that. If anybody will find it, it'll be candy anyways. But Dallas Cowboys got spanked, and the whole world got to watch it. And the only one who was even in a better mood was actually Stephen A. Smith, so he could pile on because he don't like him anyways. And I didn't even watch that clown either. I can't stand him. I may take some of his catchphrases once in a while, but really, I don't know. He doesn't say really or seriously, But he has all these.
Sorry.
That guy makes me look like I don't have a loud mouth, although I could get loud with the best of them. The only problem I'm having now is the vocal cords are like brake pads are wearing out a little bit. So what are you going to say, Jen?
Podcast isn't half bad. I'm not going to lie, because it's a lot of pop culture stuff. And it's different, like pop culture and sports merging. It's kind of like, and he's not trying to make a butthead out of himself.
Yeah, it's his first take is 99 take. I mean, that's absurd. I mean, everybody knows that he's the executive producer of that show, and that bozo the clown here could sit here and say, I won every debate. Yeah, it's my show. I'm supposed to. You know what Stephen A. Smith's first take reminds me of? It reminds me of the roller derby and highlight. It's all a fix. It's a fix, people. A fix. If you ever seen a highlight, have you ever seen that before? Okay, it's a fix. Okay, ever seen the roller derby? Ever seen big time wrestling? It's a fix. Stephen A. Smith, stick to pop culture because, in my opinion, I haven't watched it in a long time, and you know what? I don't plan to. I would rather go out there and just go ahead and look at my phone and get more storyline to do more of these. Good stuff. Good stuff. I can have it. All right. With that said, as we get ready to wind down the broadcast here, everybody had to see my inner Motor City Mad Mouse Scott in there. And I did. It's okay. See, I'm wearing a USF Bull shirt. Why? Give me a USF Bull. I got more cities named after me than Smith does. I got Scottsdale in Arizona. I got Bullhead City out there. Okay. I have a school named after me, USF Bulls. I used to have a supermarket that George knows all about. Great Scott. Once upon a time, we had that back there. Okay. Just a few. What does Stephen A. Smith have? I don't even want to know, and I really don't even care. So there, I'll leave it at that. Nobody will top that rant. And if they do, well, so be it. Do it. I don't care. But send the comments and say you like the show anyways and share it, all that business. Because I guarantee they'll get their entertainment dollars worth. All right. Not being just stating the fact. That's all. So with that said, one last thing we're going to talk about is a game you're looking forward to. All right, Jennifer, what game are you looking forward to this weekend?
Honestly, Thursday night football.
No, I'd rather you lie, but okay.
I know this is weird, but I'm actually truly 100% looking forward to seeing the Broncos versus the Saints because Sean will be coaching against his old team. And I think that'll be a good game because the head coach in New Orleans now was one of his assistants. So yeah, I think most people hate Stephen A.
Yeah. Seriously, really? See, I got my people understand women identity. Seriously, really?
I know. I've only agreed with one comment Stephen A. Smith has made on his show before, but that was just one.
You know what the comment I ever agreed with him? Okay, there's one. That the only thing he knows about hockey is that the puck is black. Boy, I'll tell you, at least the one thing he isn't is Ray Charles. He's not colorblind. And by the way, in hockey, the puck is black. So you're looking forward to the Saints and Broncos?
Yeah,
okay.
I think it'd be a good game. And Broncos, come on, y'all just have one job to do. Just one job.
Yeah, beat the Saints. Okay.
Yes.
Fair enough. All right, Candy, what game are you looking forward to?
There's a couple that I think are going to be really good.
No, you only get one. Whatever you do on Fire is another story, but you're only limited to one on this show. I don't care what you do in your country club. A lot of people look at this as a military.
Okay, then I'm going to take one of the ones that you would probably take. I'm looking forward to the Canes playing Louisville because since we cover the Miami Hurricanes, I think them going to Louisville and considering, knock on wood, they're undefeated right now. I'm looking forward to that game.
Okay, that's fair enough. I like that. I'll never go against my Canes. All right, go ahead, George.
Well, I'm looking forward to Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Michigan. Which team will show up? The University of Michigan Wolverines, the national champs, or some chumpy team? They're playing Illinois, and Illinois is a great success story. The Fighting Illini, as you guys know, are 5-1, I believe, overall, and
Nice.
2-1 in the conference. And the I want to see what Michigan can do. Can they go on the road and beat another top 25 team? It's been a struggle this year, as you guys know, for Michigan ever since Harbaugh left. But the eyes will be watching the Fighting Illini and U of M. My eyes will be watching that, and I'm going to predict that the better Michigan team shows up, but it's going to be a dogfight. This game is going to be really close. I'm looking forward to seeing that one Saturday afternoon.
Okay, I got to address James. I got to put that Florida State University back on. You know, I will at a later date, but that was something we have fun with Coach Bono, who ripped the daylights out of Florida State. So I decided to do that to have fun. But you never know. I mean, I don't know what shirt I'm going to wear. Depends on what mood I'm in. Well, I mean, I guess I'm going to go with the Lions and the Vikings. I want to see how they end up doing without Aiden Hutchinson. But I'm really curious, at least as of tonight's show, what other reinforcements are going to have by the time kickoff occurs on Sunday. So, you know, again, the Lions and the Minnesota Vikings. So, but that's a great show tonight. Glad that Jay came in here at the very end. I'll tell you, this guy is unbelievable. By the way, Jay, just so you know, Candy and I are going to make sure that your package is in the mail tomorrow. We have a day that we can do it, and we're going to do it. All right. Well, Jennifer, you know, as we get ready to wrap down the show, why don't you let everybody know how they can get a hold of you?
Typically, you can catch Candy and I and our other chicks on Tuesday nights at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Chicks and Salsa. We've kind of been trying to figure out our new streaming service last 2 weeks. So I think we have it nailed down now. Don't you, Candy?
I hope so.
And you can catch me on Instagram and Twitter under Jenna Cheryl, the professional fan. You can also get me on Facebook under Jennifer Matthews Lewis. I'm on Reddit as Jenna Cheryl. So you can pretty much get me on any social media. I'm not very active on TikTok. I've been told I need to be more active. Scott, I need you to get me active on TikTok, bud.
Good luck, sweetheart. I'm not even active on it either. Yeah, you're talking about me getting anybody active on that? Are you serious?
Oh,
seriously.
Check out our YouTube page also. We have the Chicks Podcast YouTube page. It's a pretty solid one. We cover arts, entertainment, sports, just a litany of things. We're always and constantly uploading. So, yeah, you can check me out on pretty much everywhere on social media except for TikTok because I don't do anything except occasionally scroll.
And I will add one thing to your repertoire, Miss Jennifer, okay, is that she's our top pinch hitter for the Sports Exchange. The show goes back all the way to the 80s. We appreciate her coming on in the Sports Exchange when we need her. I custom make this show to make sure Jennifer can come on this show.
Which I appreciate, Scott.
Oh, no, I don't mind. It doesn't matter. Oh, we're talking about the Gridiron show, which I've only been around forever like him, although I've been to more stadiums than this clown has. But all right, go ahead, clown. Let everybody know how they can get a hold of you. I love you, clown.
I love you.
You drive. I love Jennifer. This guy here, you know, he's one of a kind. All right, clown. Go ahead. Let him know how to get a hold of you.
Clowny plays football in the NFL.
Oh, that's a good comeback.
Yeah. Look at here. We got a book written by.
That's actually one of your better ones, Icorn. I got to give you credit.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah. Okay. So I hate to say this, but all these guys are dead on the front page of my book. Gordie Howe, Bud Lynch, Bob Reynolds, Bruce Crampton is the golfer, and Paul Carey. They're all gone. Alex Delvecchio. Anyway, Scott is in this book. I'm in the book. If you've got any sense of Detroit sports and media history, you will know that. Yeah, you could buy this book still. There's a link that Candy puts at the end of my column under the South Florida Tribune, and then drill down under Motor City Tribune as a contributor, and you will find my articles. And at the end of the article, you'll see a link to that book. So, and I'm very happy and honored to be writing the foreword for Scott's book. Great book he put together last fall. And Candy helped out a lot with that too. You can reach me at gicorn@yahoo.com. Follow me on Twitter or X, whatever they call it, at SanGSports99. And also, I'm on LinkedIn and any other way you want to try to get a hold of me. Good to be on the show tonight. Of course, Monday night, love being on that show as well. Baseball. 108 stitches. And keep the letters and cards coming.
All right, bear in mind, I will be working on my second part to this book here, the one that Candy's about to talk about. I've been waiting all year to more or less go out there and come up with enough stories. I have an idea. I'll be working on the outline, hopefully, probably around, I want to say December, January. That's when I'll see when I'm ready to get to the outline. All right, Candy, take us the rest of the way.
South Florida Tribune YouTube channel. If you see that red subscribe button, hit it, like us, share us with all your friends and family. The South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published Scott's book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by your host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morgenroth, and the foreword, yes, was written by George. It is a very well-written book, and the foreword was very well-written. You can get a copy on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Apple and Google Books. There's a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com. There is also a link to our merchandise store where you can get, it's fall. It's time to put on the sweatshirts and comfy clothes. Go get a South Florida Tribune sweatshirt. Or if you're buying, again, Christmas gifts, buy a South Florida Tribune t-shirt or buy Scott's book or George's book as gifts. You want to give the gift that keeps on giving. Our website, www.southfloridatribune.com. Scott writes, George writes, Jen wrote once or twice. She might write again. I'm going to try, I'll keep needling her a little bit. I take pictures. Go check out the website. We have all kinds of other media distribution partners that send us great content. So go check it out. I do manage that site. So if you have anything you want to submit to me, you can always email me at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can listen to us wherever you get your podcast. We're there. Monday nights, we talk baseball. Tuesday nights, we talk football. Wednesday nights, Sports Exchange here. We talk anything goes. Scott proceeded tonight with George and Smokin' Jeremy B on No Filter on the Motor City Madmouth show, nofilter.net. You can go check that out. And then tomorrow night is Fire Up, but before that is Fire Up Florida, which is Scott's hockey show. Go check us out if you want to advertise or sponsor any one of our shows or all of our shows. Call Scott, 954-304-4941. If you missed any of that, it's been scrolling on the bottom. Just hit the rewind button.
There you go. Hey, by the way, Jay, just an FYI, you said Candy will be wearing an Elway jersey. If I had one, I'd wear one. But let me tell you, I like John Elway. But I saw him, my first Super Bowl that I covered. I've actually been, Jennifer, to 4 games as well. Mm-hmm. I've been part of 6 or 7, I don't know how many, but at least 4 games where I got to do everything. I saw John Elway's final game against the Atlanta Falcons is what I did over at Joe Robbie Stadium. It was one of the biggest thrills, and I ended up covering 3 more all of which are for the Detroit Monitor, and you'll be able to find that in Lessons from the Microphone. So, I had actually an opportunity to ask Elway a question. I really did, and the question I asked him as we get ready to wrap this bad boy up here is, was he glad that he forced his way out of Baltimore, because he was originally drafted by the Baltimore Colts, and he smiled like you wouldn't believe. He was glad to hear that question. And yeah, he told me how he orchestrated his way out and ended up with Denver, and the rest is history. So, well, with that said, let's conclude this edition of the Sports Exchange. So on behalf of Candy Ebley, George Eichhorn, Jennifer Lewis, professional fan, jack of all trades. Okay, chicks and salsa, 3 chicks in a pod. My name is Scott Morgenroth, the Motor City Madmouth. Thank you for joining us. I wish I had a clip of me doing it, Jay, but if you're looking at me as a technical guy, no way, man. No way, brother. So, but on behalf of this crew here, I want to thank you very much for tuning in tonight, watching. And if you want to hear us again, just watch it on YouTube and keep subscribing, because I got a lot more coming down the pipeline. And one thing I added on YouTube that just came out was an opportunity to talk to a guy named John Register Jr. And this guy was a para-Olympian that won a silver medalist. So that's on there too. It's a very inspiring story. So good night, everybody. We'll see you next Wednesday. Have a great week. And,
Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye.